you find yourself with a small blueberry farm and you're trying to, you know, make ends meet. So this guy is going to show you some new and some innovative ideas. So anyway, his talk was Saving a Small Farm Through Value-Added Processing. Harry Soltes from Bow Hill Blueberry Farm.
Okay, good morning. Yeah, oh, it's in here. We got the history. So good morning. Yeah, I'm Harley. And along with my wife, we purchased Bow Hill Blueberries from the Anderson family in 2011. Originally, we were most interested in the home and the processing facility. We were doing some other farming, not blueberries, and we saw, we were living in a trailer on a 40-acre site. And at first, we were interested actually in the home, the home and the processing facility that was there. And originally looked at leasing out the fields to somebody to grow them organically because we were going to live in the middle of them. This is a picture of Bow Hill Blueberries. It was originally Anderson Blueberry Farm. It's the oldest blueberry farm in the Skagit Valley. It's only 6 acres, so we're dinky. We're likely the smallest farm, you know, at this conference, and dinky by today's standards. But in the 1940s, when these plants were planted, that was the size farms were. The majority of our field was planted 70 years ago. This is the 70th anniversary of 3 of our varieties. That's the original plants. We can't really get any bigger. We're bounded by Edison Slough. And what we decided to do was to try and get the most value out of each one of those berries that we grew on the site. We've never changed any varieties over. We've left what was there, what was left, and tried to figure out what was going to happen with them. This is a picture of Severin and Ann Anderson. They actually owned the farm since 1930. They grew strawberries, golden seal, and they raised mink there. And they held the farm up until they planted they brought the blueberries in and right after World War II. And there's a lot of blueberry fields that went in Whatcom and in Southwest Washington at that same time, post-war. The Andersons planted blueberries and then passed it on to the brother, who many of y'all know is Gus Anderson in the 70s. And Gus and Dorothy ran the farm until they passed away in the early 2000s. And a lot of y'all know Dorothy because she was very active with the Washington Blueberry Commission. So this is the family that runs it now. We're small. Our slogan is we're a small family farm. We're a small farm run by a small family with a big commitment to growing heirloom blueberries organically. So I'm the farmer. Our son does a lot of the farmers markets. My wife does the marketing, sales, and product development. And our daughter, who's on the right, does all of our design, labeling, and sort of packaging design. So this is kind of what the processing building looked like when we got there. It was kind of tired. They used to process, the Andersons processed for quite a few other small farms, so they could handle machine pick. They were also an aggregation site for like Columbia Fruit. So there are quite a few things were happening in this building. This was our initial mission statement in 2011. So we started out with the idea to rejuvenate the farm to the vibrant, community-oriented, sustainable farm it once was, while transitioning the 65-year-old conventional farm to certified organic. And so my wife likes to change the way things look. So that's the way it looked a few months after we moved there. We painted the building red, my wife, and the house was blue, and the buildings were red. Everything was blue when we got there. And she said, only the blueberries should be blue. So make them stand out. And we took some recycled barn wood and put it around the storefront to maybe look like it was the original shed with the building added to it later. We created a brand name, Bow Hill Blueberries, and in homage to the Andersons when they started growing blueberries. We put the established 1947, even though it was actually Anderson Blueberry Farm up until we got it. We created a brand and started moving forward from there. The design was done by our daughter. And one of the things is when you're in Edison, there's a lot of local artisans. We had a local sign painter make the sign. There's a lot of people who can help you move along creatively. Our success has been based on 2 main things, and that was the conversion to organic and the conversion from fresh fruit and processed fruit over to value-added production. And we got a lot of great help learning organic blueberry production from Charlie Anderson, who at that time was with Sakuma, and also with Jim Meyer, who was at Cascadian. They both shared a lot of information and a lot of time with us to help us understand what it was going to really take to tackle organic. This is me with a couple loads of the compost. We're applying 75 to 100 cubic yards of compost per acre per year that first 4 years to help bring up organic matter, start hilling up the plants a little more, and building soil health, and then as a result, I believe, taste. So this is like a little poster that we made when people come into our store, so they kind of understand a couple things: why it's a challenge to do organic blueberries, and also sort of the effort we put into it, and also perhaps why things cost more. We described the 7 semi-trucks of compost and the various things that go into making a Bow Hill organic blueberry. One of the great gifts, I mean, the Andersons left us some great gifts: healthy, mature plants, irrigation system, water right, and a processing building that they had already, it was already a WSDA licensed processing facility. And so we built out a kind of a clean room. That white thing in the middle is our clean room, which is where we make our value-added products. So this is kind of an overall shot. The area all to the right is where we package and ship. We have internet sales of our products. So we've taken a lot of the space that used to be like air cleaners and color sorters and destemmers and made them into packaging areas. So when we first started out, our first year and our second year, we're doing an organic transition. That takes 3 years. So we're 3 years, where our costs are organic. That's the big thing about organic. Your costs are going to be organic for 3 years, but you're selling at a conventional price. We went through the transitional program with the WSDA, which actually did help us market to co-ops and people that recognize what transitional means, and it's a great program that Washington State offers. So you were still inspected, and at the end of 3 years, you don't have any surprises because you're already in the inspection process and the paperwork process. But we originally thought we would U-pick everything, get a good value, don't have to pick it, don't have to package it. It's kind of a good thing. And traditionally that farm had some U-pick. And in addition, historically, if you talk to people who grew up in the Valley, a lot of kids in the Valley grew up picking at Anderson Blueberry Farm to buy their school clothes. And those people were coming back and picking with their kids and saying, I picked here, and I know Dorothy, and I knew Gus. And a lot of the Anderson family come back and visit us quite often. Some of Severin and Ann's daughters come back and visit, and kind of like seeing how the place has gotten started back up again. This is a little thing when we raised our U-pick prices, everybody comes in and says, well, there's a place in Linden that's $1. Or we always picked here for $1. Everybody says about that U-pick should be $1. And we raised, when we went organic our third year, we went to where our U-pick was $2.75, which is still kind of a common price now. And people thought that was expensive. And so I just had this idea. I went to the local grocery store, bought a pair of Twinkies, took them home, weighed them, priced them out. And Twinkies, which you don't think of as expensive food, is $10.49 a pound. And so we have this poster up. One of our interns made this poster, and it's up in the store. And nobody gets it. Most people come in and go, you have Twinkies. They want Twinkies. So another innovation we did the first year was we created this thing called a grazing pass. And looks like a backstage pass, costs you $5. We thought we have a lot of bicyclists going by that they don't really want to U-pick and carry fruit with them. Maybe they just want to go out and graze. They're eating heirloom fruit that's organic. They can eat off the plant. They see the mountains and it's beautiful. And for $5, they can eat all they want. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And we did that for the first year, and it didn't really take off. Nobody were doing it. So the second year, we just required it. If everybody coming in the field got a grazing pass, you pay $5 access fee or a grazing pass fee. You get to eat all you want. You only pay for what you take home. And if you pick 10 pounds or more, then you get your $5 back anyway. So you're kind of selecting for people who pick a lot, which is who you want there. And anybody who's coming to pick a pound, which is also a significant number of people, pay for the experience because you've got the porta potties, you've got your staff, and it helped cover the price of running a U-pick. And there was a little bit of resistance at once. So is that 1 minute left? Okay. Oh, there was a little bit of resistance, but we got through it. In terms of our varieties, we have mostly heirloom varieties. We have Rubel, Jersey, and Stanley, plus some blue crop. And rather than change them out, we decided to find out what each one of these types of fruit wanted to be. And so we found out that Jerseys work really good with ice creams and as a frozen fruit. The blue crop were terrible as juice, whereas the Rubels and Jerseys were good for juice. And, you know, when we went into this, we thought blueberries are blueberries, but they're not. It's like grapes, and each one has a different, you know, you all know how they pick different. They also all become products in very different ways. So our brand became heirloom and organic. That's a picture of our son. Initially, we started, after we did just bulk, we used to sell bulk to Columbia fruit when it was conventional. We sold bulk lugs just directly to the public. And then we started to do clamshells and fresh. And we got into co-ops, and we got into grocery stores, and we got into Whole Foods. We sell a lot through our retail store. It's best to capture retail pricing. We did some farmers markets early on, 3 or 4 of them, but we've cut back a lot because we find out it's just for the bang for the buck, we're not doing very well. It's a lot of effort. We do use our website extensively. And so we're trying to build where we're shipping all over the country, and it's taking off better and better every year. We sell about 80% of our wholesale locally through the Puget Sound Food Hub, which is a farmer-owned cooperative. And it's a great way to get around. It delivers all the way from the north part of Whatcom County to the south part of King County. It's going to institutions, restaurants, hospitals. That's our website for our value-added products on the Food Hub. We also do some large institutional sales through Charlie's, mostly to Microsoft. Everything we do is source identified. It's got our sticker on it. We don't sell anything in a generic box or anything. Microsoft wanted our Bow Hill fruit, and Charlie's takes it to them. It's labeled all the way through. And we do a farmer day every year in one of their cafeterias where we come and, you know, they get to meet the farmer. We also sell to Microsoft, Amazon. This is fresh and frozen, and some of our value-added products. A lot of the Amazon cafes. University of Washington Hospital was our very first buyer back when we started with the Food Hub, and they buy a lot of fresh and frozen. The way we did our transition, one of the things that helped us go from this fresh and then moving now into more value-added stuff is we got a value-added producer grant. And a value-added producer grant, there's actually a USDA booth here that might have some information. There's a deadline coming up in January for the next round. And they helps pay for a lot of the startup costs of doing value-added. And value-added in the USDA's mind is anytime you take a raw commodity and you do a change of state. That could be frozen, it could be put in a jar, and adding value. And so we worked on a value-added producer grant for 2 years, starting in 2014, and that allowed us to package frozen, design the labels. It doesn't pay for any equipment. It's labor and materials, basically, and marketing. And that's what helped us create this line of frozen, or initially frozen, which we have in co-ops and retails. We do a dried blueberry. That's Stacy, our kitchen manager, and our blueberries are a little different than the most commercial blueberries in that there's no oil or added sugars. They do pretty well for us. This is our original line of products. We do a pickled blueberry, a jam, a sauce, a marinade, dried blueberries. We used to have a candy. We don't do it anymore. Kind of our signature and exclusive thing we've created is a pickled blueberry, and we do it from one of the little heirloom fruits. Some years the Rubel works, some year the Stanley works. It's whatever is going to stay the crispest. And it's really good on salmon. It's really good on cheese plates. We ship that around the country. It's pretty popular. And it sort of requires a small heirloom fruit that'll stay. We've tried modern fruit, larger blue crop and stuff, and it gets kind of mushy. It doesn't work. And we do some collaborations. So Lopez Island Creamery does a Bow Hill branded ice cream that's in the Mount Vernon Co-op and a couple of Hagen's, and we sell it. And they use our jerseys for that. They're currently now selling their ice cream also through the Puget Sound Food Hub to institutional sizes of it. You saw our original logos at Bow Hill Blueberries established, but it didn't work well in our original, on our packaging, and that you can't get all that information on a little logo and put it on the front of a jar of jam. So we did a brand refresh because my daughter was bored, and we're now using kind of a different logo called Bow Hill. Last year we got a second value-added producer grant to create juice. And we're doing a cold pressed juice. Oops, get it going again. And we're juicing a significant number of our jerseys and rubles, and now we are purchasing jerseys and rubles from other organic farms that have them. So if anybody has organic jerseys and rubles, we're always out looking for those varieties. We found that they're the only ones that really juice very well. They come out incredibly dark, incredibly sweet. And we flash pasteurize into glass bottles. And it's become our biggest product. So we're shipping this around. We just got into a large national high-end chain called Neiman Marcus. I don't know if y'all shop at Neiman Marcus, but we're in 42 Neiman Marcus stores with our glass bottle juices now. And that's just a small flash pasteurizer we had to get from Germany. Everything we do is kind of small scale, which is scale appropriate. So we're always trying to find technologies that help us do these products without being as big as, you know, where we're going to go broke and go into debt. So that's our product line right now. And it runs from the juices to a powder. After we press the juice, we take the pulp and we dry it in our commercial dehydrator and then blend it and pulverize it into a powder. We thought we would just be selling large amounts of it as an ingredient to somebody, but it's actually selling really well in small packs. People are putting it in smoothies, they're putting it in baked goods. Dog biscuit makers are buying it and putting it in there. People are in a lot of the bars are buying it and doing mixed drinks where they put the powder on a rim mixed with sugar. So we've been struggling at the local grocery stores and Whole Foods and those kind of places because our stuff was scattered all over the store. Like the jam was over here, the pickle was somewhere else. And so one of the stores recommended, why don't you just, like one more, okay, give us an end cap. So we built our own end cap out of wood. We now have built about 6 of these. The stores love them. We make them take all the products if they want it. And we're getting really good placement in the stores, like right at the front of the produce, right at the front of the store. We have them in Williams and Sonoma where you walk in right at the beginning of the store. We're doing a high-end kind of juice gift kit that we're shipping around the country right now. We worked with a local bartender to come up with a bunch of cocktail recipes. That's a Bow Hill Fizz with blueberry juice and blueberry powder. We did a collaboration with Rachel's Ginger Beer. Anyway, this is my last slide. So after all that, we came around to where we have a new mission statement as of a couple years ago. And that's to sustainably farm the oldest blueberry farm in the Skagit Valley through organic and innovative practices, offering unique, high-quality blueberry products, and continuing to create harvest memories and deep connections to farm fresh food for our community. So that's where we've gone. We're still building market. We're trying to make it to prove that it's sustainable and working. And we're getting there. We have positive cash flow. We keep 6 people full-time year-round. We have 20 during the summer. And that's where we've gotten to in 6 short years. So.
Thank you.